For more than a decade, the BGK family has been a champion of dreams. It's the dreams of those who work for a better tomorrow that drive us to reach our greatest potential. We are here to support our kingdom partners, their families, their ministries, and our communities.
Did you know that online streaming is becoming the most powerful means of reaching a broader audience? Even major networks are transitioning from cable television to online streaming platforms. BGK is a Christian online TV network that is ahead of the curve. We specialize in virtual broadcasting, allowing leaders to broadcast right from their homes while sitting in the comfort of their customized studios. Well, call us at 877-386-6207 and become a broadcast partner with BGK Broadcast.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to G's Inspirational Corner, where we are inspiring you to live your best life. I am your host. My name is Evangelist Yolanda Simmons-Wright, and I am super excited about what we are going to talk about today. But before I introduce you to our guest, let me tell you how to be a guest on G's Inspirational Corner TV show. All you have to do is send me an email at wewdiamonds@yahoo.com. Now, after today's show, please go over to our Facebook page at G's Inspirational Corner Broadcast and leave a comment about today's show. I know you're going to be excited about what we're talking about today. Let me go ahead and introduce our guest. Her name is Shiree McGee. She's a Christian. She's been a Christian for 38 years. She's a wife. She's been married for 24 years, a mom of 21 years, and she is a pastor of 11 years. She owned her own business, education consulting firm. I pray that I said that right. It's an educational consulting firm. She works in elementary school. She has a degree. I'm going to bring her on so she can correct me if I made a few mistakes with her name and her business. Let's welcome Shiree to G's Inspirational Corner.
Thank you so much. All is well. You did great. No worries at all.
All right. Pronounce your last name for me.
McGee.
Okay. All right. Let's get right to it.
Okay.
I'm so excited to have you here today.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Now, I was reading your bio, but I just gave them a little bit about you. Is there anything else that you can add to your bio that I did not mention?
No, I think the bio says it all. Yeah, it just everything is great. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I am a pastor, educational consultant. So I am wearing many hats, but I believe I'm doing them well. So that's what's important.
So tell me, how do you balance all of that? A mother, a wife, a pastor, and an author. How do you balance it all?
You know, I spent years trying to find what we all call balance, right? Mm-hmm. And I came to the conclusion after trying to find this perfect balance that I don't think it even exists. I think it's really a matter of prioritizing things as they come, right? Because it's been like that for me since my children are really small. I've had to balance many things at one time. And so, of course, you can't be master of them all at the same time. So I released myself of that burden and said, what is high priority? What is the highest need? Let's give the time to that, and everything else will fall into place. So, yeah, that's how I feel about it. I don't know if true balance exists. Now, that's my story. If somebody has a better answer and you have found the magic of balance, please contact me. I would love to hear it.
Well, it sounds like you're doing well. You have your own business. you are a pastor, and
Yeah.
you are an author. So you found the time to have that balance. I want to talk about your life as a pastor. You know, we're living in a day and time where women, they're rising up. They're becoming pastors, preachers, prophetess. Tell me about your church, where your church is located. Tell us a bit about the pastor in you.
Absolutely. So I've been a pastor for 10 years now. I don't pastor alone. I pastor with my husband, him being the lead pastor, of course, but we definitely pastor together. We have an amazing time doing it. We wouldn't have it any other way. We very much enjoy it. I absolutely appreciate how he honors the gifts and the callings that God has placed on my life. And he allows me to do what I do, and he celebrates it, right? We know as women in ministry, you know, there's still this good old boys club where women are not always accepted or where they're not always honored, but I do not have that problem at home, and I'm super grateful for that. And so our church is Revive Church. Now, this is a new church plant as of last year. And so we started online, and then we are now in person and online, boots on the ground in Memphis, Tennessee. And we are having a wonderful time. We are glad to be in the South.
Wow, how wonderful. We talked right before the show, and I was telling you that I was online one night and I was able to join you guys virtually. And I tell you, I was moved by that powerful prayer that you gave. So I wanted you to, have a chance to tell us the name of your church and where it's located, because you never know who's out there in Texas that may be looking for, somewhere to worship. So thank you for giving us that information. And also, how can they, if they wanted to watch you virtually, how can they do that?
So we stream right now on Facebook and on YouTube, and the name of our church is Revive Church, but you find us at Online Revive Church, and you'll most times see myself and my husband's face. So it'll be Michael and Shiree McGee, and then you'll know that you're there because there are multiple Revive churches. But again, we're located online and in Memphis, so you'll know when you see me.
Okay. All right. I'm going to tell you, you're going to have a good time. If you join online, I'm a witness because I enjoyed the service that I was in online. So tell us, Shiree, about your business.
Okay, so that my business is Try Now Consulting, and that is an educational consulting business that I founded. And what we do is we assist teachers and parents with behavior management for school-age children. We know that can be an issue. It can be very frustrating, especially in our classrooms now. It was an issue before the pandemic, but dear God, it has been a great undertaking coming back into the school system. So my job and our job is we go into schools into the classrooms. We provide professional development. We provide job embedded training, one-to-one and in groups. So it just depends on what the need is when the school brings us in. And we also provide parenting sessions. So we all know our kids did not come with a manual. Like two people got together, made this kid, and got sent home with the kid, and that was it, right? And so you have to work your way through that. So we love providing parenting sessions, teaching you parenting skills on your journey so that you can not only feel more successful, but be more successful with your child.
Okay. So is there a particular grade level?
It's school age, elementary age is our focus.
Okay.
And to go further into that, our focus is those parents that are having parents and students, right, for teachers and parents that just experiencing challenges. I'm sorry. So if you found yourself in a place of being very challenged with your child's behavior, you just don't know what to do. Our framework, our methodology is reset, right? So we're saying don't give up. We're going to help you and your child, or help you as a teacher and your classroom to reset. And you can do it. You can do it.
I like that. Don't give up. Just reset. Hit that reset button, and let's do this. I work for the public schools, so I know how challenging it can be sometimes. Yes. And then when we went into the virtual world, the parents had to be taught how to live in that virtual world as well.
Absolutely.
They needed to be trained on, because we live in an age where the young people, they're technology savvy.
They are.
And so a lot of them was able to just, really get into it. But then we had the parents that needed to also be able to join that virtual world and, partner up with the teachers and the parents the way we do now in the building. So I really like that. Hit that reset button. Don't give up. Just keep on trying.
And I can relate to it. I did not just start an educational consulting business. I was an educator myself. I was in the classroom almost 20 years myself. So I know firsthand the challenges that teachers experience, and I'm a mom, of course. So I know the challenges that parents experience. So I got you, not just in theory. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Got you in experience, and we can help you.
So how did you come up with the name Try Now?
Good question. So the way that came, and it's TRI. As in 3, try now. So what happened was my mom was and is an educator, right? Not in the classroom, but she's been teaching in ministry. She has her own business herself where she consults and teaches. And then I became a teacher and an educator spiritually and professionally. And now my daughter, same thing. She's in college now for elementary education, and she also teaches on a spiritual level. She has her own not-for-profit where she's been pushing abstinence and virginity. Virginity, so abstinence and celibacy for last year. I think it was her 5th year, like her own nonprofit. She started at 13 years old. So she's had conferences. She goes online and teaches sessions. Like, this is what she was doing. So I named it Try, as in 3 generations, where try. So try now. That's how that came about.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I have to get her on my show. That is beautiful. Try Now Consulting. Now, if a person wanted to, wanted your services, how would they go about reaching you? How can they get in touch with you?
Very easy. Just go to my website. It's trynowconsulting.org. And again, that's TRINOW. consulting.org. There's a link there where it says to contact me, and you can book a free consultation with me. Free, for real, right? Free. And if you ask others before you, if I could allow you to talk with them, you actually get some amazing things in that free session. So that's a time where we can talk and try to evaluate what your needs actually are. And then we go from there.
Now, is it, do they have to be in the state of where you are, or is it also virtual?
No, ma'am. I'm able to assist virtually and in person. I can travel anywhere in the U.S.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful. So that's one thing that this pandemic did teach us.
Absolutely.
We didn't have to be in the building. We didn't have to be in the office. We can, we global.
We're doing amazing things. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
So that brings me to something else that I'm very excited about talking about. You mentioned your website for Try Now Consulting, and you are an author.
Yes, ma'am.
And I want to talk about your book, Can My Family Be Well? Because the name itself grabbed my attention. And so I went onto your website, and I was able to get your book, and I was reading your book, and I have so many questions.
Okay.
And so I would love to talk about your book. And I'm going to quote one of the things that you said. My desired outcome was that my family be well, not perfect, but well. Now tell me, how did you come up with the title, Can My Family Be Well?
Okay, so that was, and I say this at the beginning of the book, that's a question that I will often ask myself growing up, coming up as a child, as a teenager, as a young adult. My family was not just completely awful, but we had some dysfunctions, right? That's not uncommon for families. Mm-hmm. And so I would just wonder, because I knew what I desired, but I didn't see that. Right. And so I kept saying, God, can my family really be well? Can we be okay? I'm not looking for the Huxtable family. Right. Mm-hmm. But I was just I said, God, can my family be well? And as I asked that question, he began to take me on this journey where I was able to see if my family could be well. And so that's how that title came about.
Wow. I was just reading that book, your book, Can My Family Be Well? And it reminded me of a conversation I was having with someone about not only generational curses, but generational blessings. And some of the things that you talked about in your book, especially when you said, you talked about issues that may stem from issues from the past or before you were born. And you talk about that. And that's so important because a lot of times, we don't think of it in those terms. Some things maybe passed down to us. Talk to us about that.
Absolutely. From my own personal experience, and even as I have helped others walk through their journey in terms of helping them become well and their family become well, I came to understand that so many times what you're experiencing is just an after effect of something that happened literally before you were born. I can remember in my family, I couldn't understand why certain family members weren't talking. And when you would ask the older family members why they weren't talking, they never could give you a good answer because it went so far back. It was like their parents didn't talk and this happened and that happened. So they never could give a real clear answer. And so I said, okay, so now I don't have contact with certain family members, or I don't have certain relationships that I want to have. And I had nothing to do with it. It was something that was just passed down. Or I'm having internal struggles, right? And that could be a bunch of things. But I'm having internal struggles, whether it's rejection, whether it could be abandonment. Like I list all these things in the book, right? All these different. It can be rejection. It can be abandonment. It can be low self-esteem. It can be a sickness, like physical sickness. Different things you can be experiencing that you didn't cause, but just generationally, it came down to you. So yeah. But you still want to deal with those things, right? You don't want to say, oh, it wasn't my fault, so it is what it is. Something within me still said, even though I see these grudges in my family and I see people not talking and I see division and I see relationships not being great, that's not what I want. I want my family to be well. So I started taking those steps to make that happen.
Wow. Yeah, sort of like, oh, don't talk to those people down the streets. Well, why? Oh, we just don't talk to them. And you don't know why. It's just something that down through the years that they just did not do. But you list a few things like you said in your book. And you talked about the black sheep. I'm just going to name a few because we want people to buy this book. Because what's interesting about this book, that as you read this book, there's time to do some journaling. And I love to journal. I love taking notes. And you talk about the black sheep. You talk about trauma. You talk about manipulation, prettification, and not having a vision. You talk about masking. Let's start with the black sheep. What do you mean by that?
Black sheep, some people feel like they are the black sheep of the family, like they're always rejected. Nobody likes them. And from my experience, see, that's the thing. I wrote my book from my experience. So I don't want people to purchase the book or read the book as if I'm saying this is the only truth in the world, right? My personal experience and my experience in helping so many others. When people say I'm the black sheep of the family, sometimes that's just their perception. Sometimes they feel like they're the black sheep, but they're not really that rejected. And sometimes they are, but they're the one that's outcast, or they feel outcast or abandoned or rejected or not accepted or not loved.
This is a big one, prettification.
Parentification, yes, that is just a big word for when parents cause their siblings to help raise their siblings. So mom and dad had 2 or 3 children. Instead of them being parents in their parental role, they have a big sister that's taking care of the younger siblings. And so she feeds them, she changes diapers, she makes sure they get to school. She does all the things. Parentification can happen for many reasons. It can be due to having an ill parent physically, or a mentally ill parent, or you may have a parent that is strung out on drugs or alcohol. It could be different reasons why, but studies have shown that is very damaging when you parentify a child at a young age and cause them to come into a role that really is not theirs. It causes a lot of damage within that child. There's resentment that happens because they're taking on things that they're kind of too young to like really master, but they've been pushed into this role. And so sometimes resentment comes for their siblings, for the parents, right? There's a lot of fallout from parentification. So if that's happening, that's definitely something you want to look at, examine within your family, and try to get some help to turn that around. That's not something that you want to continue.
Yes, a lot of times I see where when women, when they are separated from their spouses, or, and they'll have a son in the house, and they'll say, "You're the man of the house now." And the son may be like 10 years old. And I'm like, that's a big responsibility to put on a 10-year-old. You already said you're the man in the house. And then that kid hears that. And so they try at an early age to fill these shoes that really they're not prepared for
at all.
So we have to be careful with that. The other thing, and then I'm going to move to your story, let you tell your story briefly, but I want to move to masking.
Yeah. That masking is just as simple as hiding what the truth is, right? And I became good at that at one point in my life. You're smiling and you're laughing and you enter a room and everything is great, but people don't really know that deep on the inside, you're crying or you're struggling, you're going through but the masking, so many times people they feel they're required to mask, right? I can't be vulnerable. I can't show that I'm not having a good day. Like I'll ask people, I say, "Hi, how are you doing?" And they'll say, "Oh, hey." I said, "No, I asked, how are you doing? I really want to know." Right? Because a lot of times they're used to people saying, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" As that's all of that just means hello. No, I'm asking, how are you? But so that will cause people to mask because they feel like they don't care. And I experienced that. I went through a period of time, and I talk about that in the book too, where I was dealing with chronic sickness. Well, so when someone will ask me, "Well, how are you?" I may say, "Oh, I'm not feeling well today." "Oh, okay. Okay, what are we going to go eat for lunch?" Right? So that made me feel like, maybe I shouldn't be sharing. Maybe I should just be showing my best self, early on in my years. And so that caused me to mask. I can relate to that.
Yeah. It's something that I want to say. I want to quote from your book that I believe that many will find deliverance and healing in this quote. You said, "Mom loved us the best way she knew how." Because a lot of people, in many situations, they're broken because, in many cases, they're either angry with their parents, or they're judging mom, or they're judging dad. But sometimes we have to look at what they knew, how they knew how, because you talk about some things that may have been passed down. Maybe somebody in the household didn't demonstrate something to them, and so that's how they knew how to parent. And so when I read that, when you said Mom loved us the best way she knew how, I believe if people can really catch that, they can be healed and delivered, and their relationships can begin to heal. So this is where I want you to talk about your story. I read the book, and I want you to briefly talk about your story so that people can read it and really get into it.
Absolutely. And I love that you brought that up. So when I said my mom loved us the best way that she knew how, again, I talk about this in the book. My mom never wanted children. She shared that with us at one point in my life. You have to get the book to hear all of it. But my mother did not want children, but she had children because my dad wanted children. They were married. And so she complied. But throughout her pregnancy, time of pregnancy, she was sad. She was depressed. She cried just about every day, right? And so it wasn't a great time. So when she did become a mom, 2 girls, when she became a mom, she knew mechanically the things to do, right? She knew we needed to eat. We needed somewhere to stay. We needed to go to school. My mother was a Christian. My mother got saved, gave her life to Jesus as a teenager. She knew we needed God, but she didn't know how to do the warm and fuzzies, right? So I don't recall in my childhood a lot of hugs. I don't recall a lot of "I love yous." I don't recall a lot of rubs and pats on my back. I honestly can't recall them. And so that caused us to have a okay relationship, right? And so, but as I got older And I realized I was missing some things, and I felt the effects of that, again, passed down. But I had to come to a place where I didn't come to that by myself. Let me say that. A very wise woman said that to me, because I was just saying, oh, my mom this and my mom that, and I can't believe and so she just looked at me. She was really patient and kind. She said, you know, your mom is being the best mom she knows how to be. And that took me back when she said that in the moment. And I was like, oh, really? I was a young adult, I believe. I said, oh, really? But then when I let the Holy Spirit deal with my heart on that statement, that's when the healing happened. I began to heal. I was able to forgive. I was able to forgive myself. I was able to forgive us. I was able to open my heart to grow the relationship, because we had a little bit of separation there. But when I received that genuinely, most parents, I'm going to say 99.9, do the very best that they can with what they have. But you can't give what you don't have, right? You can't give it. Her dad wasn't affectionate with her. Her mom had 13 kids in the house at one time. It wasn't a lot of time for the hugs and the warmers and fuzzies, right? 13 kids in the house. So you can only give who you are and what you have. So that's how I came to that. And it was so much peace, so much freedom, and so much release in just believing that.
I tell you, it just blessed my whole soul.
Yeah.
That little piece right there. And you said most of our issues started before us. They were handed down to us, and we had to sort through them the best we knew how. Now, tell our viewers how to get this book, how to go to your website, and how they can get this book.
Absolutely. Would love for you to read it. Again, trynowconsulting.org is there. If there's a link that says shop, you hit it, and you go to the top link and click it, and then it's there. And it's an ebook, so you don't have to worry about paying for shipping. I'm somebody, I get kind of cheap when it comes to paying for shipping, but you don't have to pay for shipping. It's an ebook. You get it right away. And just take your time. I'm going to encourage you with the book. Take your time as you go through the book. It's not a long book, so it's easy to just read through it, right? To blow through it. But take the time and reflect. And I encourage you to do that in the book. Take the time to reflect and make it matter. Make the time matter as you read this book, because you're asking, can my family be well? And I'm telling you now, the answer is yes. Your family can be well, but we got to talk about the steps that are in the book to be able to make that possible.
Yes, I read the book, and I'm telling you, I want to say to my audience, this is a good book. This will make a perfect gift for somebody. We have the holidays coming up, even after the holidays. So like I said, there's a place for you to journal, and it is really a good read. Now, I want to talk to you about how to be a guest on G's Inspirational Corner TV show. If you have an inspiring story that you want to share, or some motivational piece that you can share, please reach out to me. I am Evangelist Jolanda Simmons-Wright. You can send me an email at wewdiamonds@yahoo.com. I really would like to invite you, after today's show, to go over to G's Inspirational Corner broadcast and tell us what you think about today's show. Talk to us. And I'm going to make sure that Shiree is able to see your comments, and so that she can talk back to you. I can talk back to you. Let's start a conversation about this.
I love it.
Now, Shiree, I want to say this to you also. I don't want to say a whole lot about your book, because I'm going to tell you, I really want people to buy the book, because I really think it is a really good read. But there was another piece on there. It says, you said another person's acknowledgement of your pain and their part in it is not guaranteed. That's healing right there.
It is.
There is healing right there. Just to know that and understand that, because sometimes we can, we have all these other thoughts, but we never think of it like that. We have a few minutes. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So many times your healing can be held up. Your progression can be held up because you feel like if this person would just apologize, if they would just acknowledge that they hurt me, what they did was wrong, how much damage it caused, then I will feel better. But what if that person never does that? So are you going to hold yourself hostage, never be free, if that person never apologizes? Now, we know we've heard, well, if they're dead, they can't apologize anyway. True. But some people are walking around alive and they will never apologize to you. And they know that they've damaged you and they will never apologize. They will never acknowledge it. What are you going to do? You have to resolve within yourself. Some people are not ready to do the work, but you are ready to do the work. So do your work. Turn in and do your work. Their apology is not a requirement for you to be healed. Their acknowledgement of what they did to you is not a requirement for you to be healed.
So I want to just say thank you so much for joining our show. I see the businesswoman in you. I see the pastor in you. I see the author in you. And I see that loving mother in you, the family woman in you. So I want to just say thank you so much for sharing your story and sharing your book and all the information you have given us today. We must do this again, my friend.
Absolutely. Thank you, Glenn. I truly appreciate being here.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And to our viewers, I want to say thank you for joining G's Inspirational Corner. Don't forget to join us right here on Roku, BGK TV, channel 117 with G's Inspirational Corner. I am your host, Evangelist Jolanda Simmons-Wright. Until next time, be blessed.